Episode 15 Origins. There are moments when you catch yourself acting as though you are made of something rare, not in what you say out loud, but in how you carry yourself. How easily you take offense, how quickly you demand recognition, how heavy your ego feels when someone does not notice you. So here is the question that unlocks this verse. When I forget what I am made of, what do I start believing about myself? منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. From it we created you, into it we shall return you, and from it we will resurrect you once again. Surah Taha, verse 55. Allah gives you your entire journey in one line. Your beginning, your end, your return. No biography, no achievements, no public image. Just the truth your ego keeps trying to outgrow. From it, into it, and from it again. The verse points you to the earth beneath your feet, the ground you step on without thinking, the soil you brush off your clothes like it is nothing. That is where you began, not to crush you, but to keep you humble. Every human being spends their life trying to rise, to matter, to be remembered, to be valued. Sometimes that desire is not pride, it is pain. A person who has been overlooked too long starts chasing visibility just to feel real. A person who carries responsibility starts craving appreciation because they are tired. But something subtle happens when the hunger to be seen turns into entitlement. You start reacting as though respect is owed to you by default. You start speaking as though your dignity is fragile and needs constant defense. You start treating disagreement like an insult. You start believing that being right matters more than being clean. This verse interrupts that drift. It brings you back to your essence. You came from the earth. Earth is ordinary. That is why it is powerful. It is walked on and it does not complain. It absorbs and it does not boast. It holds bodies and seeds and stories, and it remains quiet. There is something sobering about realizing that you are not standing on something beneath you. You are standing on something you will return to again. The Quran shows you what happens when a being misreads its essence. Iblis said, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ, I am better than him. And he justified it with the material. خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. You created me from fire, and you created him from clay. Iblis did not deny Allah. He misread what he was made of, and what Adam alayhi salam was made of. He looked at earth and saw something low. He looked at fire and saw something high. Then he built superiority on a comparison that was never meant to be the measure. Fire rises, it also burns everything around it. It demands space, it consumes what it touches. Earth does not rise like that. It receives, it settles, it carries weight without needing applause. It grows life without noise. A heart that forgets its origin becomes quicker to flare, quick to justify, quick to crush someone else's dignity to protect its own. A heart that remembers its origin becomes softer, not weak, but shapeable, able to take correction, able to apologize, able to absorb discomfort without turning it into cruelty. That is part of why Allah reminds you of dust. Pride does not need a stage. It can live in tone, in entitlement, in a refusal to say, I was wrong. وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ, and into it we shall return you. This part of the verse levels everything. The tyrant returns to it. The saint returns to it. The praised returns to it. The ignored returns to it. The one with wealth returns to it. The one with nothing returns to it. If you really let that land in your chest, it changes how you behave while you are alive. Because the earth has never cared about your status and it never will. And the Prophet ﷺ warned about a disease so small you might ignore it, yet so serious it can block a person from entering Jannah. لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر. No one who has even an atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will enter paradise. An atom's weight. That means arrogance does not need to be loud to be dangerous. It can be a silent self-importance, a constant need to win, a refusal to be corrected, a habit of looking down even if you speak politely. You can still pray and fast and give and carry that sickness quietly until it hardens inside you. This verse is mercy because it gives your heart a mirror. It tells you remember the earth before your ego makes you forget your humanity. وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. And from it we will resurrect you once again. The earth that hides you will one day expose you. Everything you try to bury will rise. The things you justified, the harm you minimized, the small humiliations you caused people when you were irritated, the private arrogance you excused because nobody saw it, and also the quiet good you thought did not count, the patience you swallowed to protect someone, the apology you forced out of your pride, the kindness you did when you had nothing to gain. The world rewards visibility, the akhirah rewards sincerity. And Allah has a way of raising a person without corrupting them if they choose humility for His sake. The Prophet ﷺ said, ما تواضع أحد لله إلا رفعه الله. No one humbles himself for Allah except that Allah raises him. Humility does not mean you pretend you have no value. It means you know exactly where your value comes from, and you refuse to turn it into a weapon against others. You refuse to let your knowledge make you harsh. You refuse to let your leadership make you heavy. You refuse to let your accomplishments make you forget your essence. So go back to the opening question. When I forget what I am made of, what do I start believing about myself? You start believing you deserve constant comfort. You start believing you must always win. You start believing your pain is special in a way that excuses your harshness. You start believing your opinion must be honored. You start believing your worth rises and falls with people's approval. This verse corrects that with three truths. You began from the earth. You will return to the earth. You will rise again from the earth. So love with the dignity of someone who remembers Allah and the humility of someone who remembers their origins. And here is the question that should follow you after this chapter is closed. If Allah made your origin humble, why are you still trying to love as though you are made of something special?